Not every NBA player goes on to have an amazing career. Some only have one good season. From career-ending injuries, to giving up basketball to work the fields. These are the one-year wonders of the NBA, and the unfortunate things that happen to them. Starting with Larry Sanders, who was a 6'11" big man with a 7'5" wide wingspan. He was drafted 15th overall in the 2010 NBA draft by the Milwaukee Bucks. Just a couple of years later, he reached his peak, playing as a center in the 2012-13 season. He averaged 9.8 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 2.8 blocks per game. He finished the season second in blocks and finished third in voting for the NBA Most Improved Player award. However, all that came crashing down just one season later. On November 3rd, 2013, Larry found himself in the middle of a brawl in a nightclub. The police got involved, and he was cited on disorderly conduct and assault and battery charges. But that wasn't his only issue. Larry had torn a ligament in his right thumb during the brawl, forcing him to be sidelined for roughly 6 weeks after undergoing surgery. And that was just the start. By the 2013-2014 season, Larry suffered an orbital bone fracture during a game against the Houston Rockets, sidelining him for another 25 games. Larry was prescribed Vicodin for the pain, but he hated it. Instead of traditional painkillers, he turned to marijuana. Larry preferred to take the more natural approach, but the NBA and him did not see eye to eye, and he continued to consume the banned substance. Consequently, by April 2014, Larry was suspended for 5 games for violating the NBA's anti-drug policy after testing positive for marijuana. Still, that wasn't enough to stop Larry. He continued to consume marijuana, and by January 2015, he failed multiple drug tests, this time netting himself a 10-game suspension. However, constantly breaking NBA rules wasn't the only problem he was facing. 1 month later, Larry checked himself into a mental health facility for a 30-day program to treat anxiety and depression. It's not clear how much good that did him because by March 2015, he walked away from professional basketball, citing his mental health issues by saying, "I think I was going through a state of depression." But it wasn't for good. The very next year, Larry was already talking about a potential comeback. He kept to his word and spent the next couple of years gearing up for a comeback. By 2017, he was back and playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But that didn't last very long as he appeared in just 5 games, averaging only 2.6 minutes and scored 4 points, grabbed 4 rebounds, and blocked 1 shot while on the court. And just like that, Larry barely contributed to the team and was waived as a consequence. After that time in the NBA, it took 7 years for his return, and in August 2024, Larry signed with the Taiwan Beer Leopards and went to play basketball in Asia. He played only 1 game that season, logged 6 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 block. However, unfortunately, his contract was terminated a few months later on October 30th, 2024. While Larry Sanders' comeback attempts couldn't jumpstart his career, this next player's career was ruined by his physical health. John Flynn came out of his college career swinging. He was named Big East Co-Rookie of the Year and was drafted 6th overall by the Minnesota Timberwolves in the 2009 NBA Draft. He proceeded to deliver a very impressive performance in his 2009-10 rookie season, averaging 13.5 points, 4.4 assists, and 2.4 rebounds per game. Johnny's great performance even earned him comparisons to another rookie at the time, Steph Curry. As a matter of fact, Johnny had been picked over Curry in the 2009 draft. However, Johnny Flynn's NBA career went downhill after a major injury near the end of his rookie season, derailing what could have been something great. He suffered a labral tear in his left hip, which needed surgery, along with 3 to 4 months of recovery time and extensive physiotherapy.
Getting back from an injury is way more work than just being healthy and just working out yourself.
Hold right there. I'm going to challenge you a little bit in here. So hold, hold, hold.
Coming off an injury, you have to work twice as much harder. than the regular times he will work.
And although he had physically recovered from his injury, unfortunately his NBA career didn't bounce back the same way. By 2011, his stats significantly declined, averaging 5.3 points, 3.4 assists, and 1.5 rebounds. And in the 2011 NBA draft, Flynn was traded to the Houston Rockets. But he didn't serve much better there either, playing only 11 games and averaging 3.4 points, 0.7 rebounds, and 2.5 assists. On March 15, 2012, he was traded once again, this time to the Portland Trail Blazers, where he continued to underperform, this time averaging 5.3 points, 1.7 rebounds, and 3.8 assists in 18 games. On October 1st, 2012, Johnny signed with the Detroit Pistons, and he was waived just 21 days later. At that point, Johnny decided to take his skills overseas. On November 5th, 2012, he signed with Australia's Melbourne Tigers, and immediately there was a sharp increase in his stats. In the 18 games he played with the Tigers, he averaged 17.7 points, 5.8 assists, and 3.8 rebounds. Johnny briefly returned to the United States and joined the Indiana Pacers for the 2013 Orlando Summer League. He then joined the LA Clippers from Las Vegas Summer League. After that, he left the NBA and never returned. His next stop was China, and in 2013, he was playing for the Sichuan Blue Whales. However, he was forced to leave 1 month later due to injury. But Johnny was still determined to play, and in 2014, he signed with Italy's Orlandina Basket. Tragically, he suffered a hamstring injury after just 2 games, ending his professional run for good. These days, Johnny's career is little more than the butt of a joke, with people dropping sarcastic jokes like, Flynn was supposed to be what Curry became, just bad luck I guess, and calling Johnny the worst draft pick of the modern era. And just like that, he's completely faded from the mainstream, much like this next one-year wonder who gave up basketball to raise cattle. Right from his college years, Bryant Reeves was a beast, coming in at 7 feet tall and weighing 270 pounds. They called him Big Country for a reason. From 1991 to 95, he played for the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and at his peak, he averaged 21 points per game, 9.7 rebounds, and 1.5 assists in the 1993-94 season. In 1995, Reeves became the Grizzlies' first ever draft choice, selected 6th overall. He continued to impress, averaging 13.3 points in his rookie season and 16.2 points in the 1996-97 season. For that, he was awarded a 6-year, $61.8 million contract extension. The very next season was his absolute peak in the NBA, averaging 16.3 points, 7.9 rebounds, and 1.08 blocks. But this is where things took a turn. Reeves always had a problem with his weight. He'd been described as being in pathetic shape, having the motor skills of a young puppy, and legendary coach Hank Eba said that he needed a bra. Reeves was huge, and he was only going to get bigger. He would report to training camp overweight and out of shape, and had a diet that consisted of red meat, potatoes, and cheeseburgers. During the 98-99 NBA lockout season, when fewer games were played due to labor disputes, Reeves weighed 315 pounds, and his productivity and health significantly declined. The extra pounds put pressure on his knees, which became sore and required surgery. He was limited to 25 games and averaged 10.8 points and 5.5 rebounds that season. His health continued to deteriorate, and by the 1999 to 2000 season, his stats had fallen to 8.9 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 1.1 assists. By his final season in 2000, he was in and out of the starting lineup, averaging career lows in points and minutes played. On January 29, 2002, his NBA health had become too much of an issue. The Grizzlies announced Reeves' retirement from the NBA due to chronic back pain caused by degenerative discs. And with that, the man Shaquille O'Neal once admitted was a terror on the court was now a one-year wonder and considered by some as the biggest flop in NBA history. But all that is behind him now. Bryant Big Country Reeves retired and moved back to Oklahoma to be a cattle farmer and start a family. Reeves was too big and suffered the consequences of it, but this next one-year wonder was done in by a bad hip. Isaiah Thomas had a lot of hurdles to jump right from the start, but despite being 5'9", he never let that stop him from balling hard. He was drafted 60th overall in the 2011 NBA draft by the Sacramento Kings, making him the very last pick, but he didn't let that hold him back. Isaiah's 2011 to 2012 rookie season stat line was impressive. 11.5 points and 4.1 assists and 2.6 rebounds. A couple of years later, he recorded his first career triple-double with 24 points, 11 assists, and 10 rebounds during the 2013 to 2014 season. But that wasn't even the season that earned Isaiah the title one-year wonder. That came after a series of career setbacks. It started with Isaiah signing a 4-year, $27 million sign-and-trade agreement with the Phoenix Suns in 2014. His first year there was anything but smooth. First, he had to undergo surgery for a wrist injury he'd suffered from the previous season. Then he had to miss 8 games later in the season after suffering an ankle injury. He ended up averaging a lower but still impressive 15.2 points, 3.7 assists, and 2.4 rebounds. However, by the next season, the Phoenix Suns let him go. When asked about having to leave 2 teams in 2 years, Isaiah said, "In Sacramento, they were probably just looking for a bigger guard. They were just looking for somebody else. With Phoenix, I think they panicked a little bit. They thought it wasn't working as well as they wanted it to work with a 3-guard lineup." By 2015, Isaiah was playing for the Boston Celtics, and a couple of years later, he achieved his legendary 2016 to 2017 season. He averaged an impressive 28.9 points, 5.9 assists, and 2.7 rebounds, and finished 5th in the NBA's Most Valuable Player vote that season. While this ended up being the absolute peak of his NBA career, a career-altering injury was about to turn him into a one-year wonder. At the end of his legendary season, he was traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. However, a right hip injury he'd gotten proved to be debilitating, and it damaged his NBA career, preventing him from playing for months. By 2020, Isaiah underwent a much-needed hip procedure and was ready to achieve his former glory. Unfortunately, that never quite happened. Isaiah would spend the next 5 years bouncing from one team to another, never achieving anywhere near his peak, instead reaching some serious career lows, like his attempt at an NBA comeback in 2024. What started as a 10-day contract with the Phoenix Suns ended up getting extended for the rest of the season. However, he only played 6 games in the 2023-24 season and averaged 1.3 points, 0.5 assists, and no rebounds. Fans were not too happy with his performance, saying, "Just face it, bro, you're not a winnable piece on a team anymore. Just the fact you short and can't play defense." By the time 2025 rolled around, Isaiah decided it was best to head over to the G League. He currently plays for the Salt Lake City Stars and scored 40 points in his first appearance back with the team. While Isaiah Thomas has endured a long and difficult career, this next one-year wonder barely lasted 4 years in the NBA. Dejuan Wagner was drafted 6th by the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2002, and it didn't take very long for his promising prospect to fall off. The crazy part is, he was tearing it up before setting foot in the NBA. Dejuan was considered by some as one of New Jersey's greatest high school players. He scored 80 points in a game as a junior. The next year, he topped it.
Stand up myself. I'm going to stand up myself.
Okay, right, the pulls up. And he makes it. It's good. Okay, timeout.
Did you see it? Did you see it?
Coach.
Did you see it?
I think that may have been 100 points scored. I saw Coach Jackson try to call timeout.
He scored 100 points against Camden County Tech and went on to score 3,462 points, the most in New Jersey high school history. After that, he moved to college basketball, where he played for the Memphis Tigers in the 2001-02 season, and averaged 21.2 PPG, 3.6 APG, and 2.5 RPG in 36 games. His performance was so impressive that his coach, John Calipari, revoked his scholarship after his freshman year to force him into the NBA. His 2002-03 rookie season with the Cleveland Cavaliers showed promise. He played in 47 games and averaged 13.4 points per game, 2.8 assists, and 1.7 rebounds. After that, things went downhill quickly. Wagner had begun feeling sporadic stomach pains, and eventually the pain grew more intense. He also suffered a torn cartilage in his right knee. As his health declined, so did his scoring average, playing in only 44 games in his second season with the Cavaliers, and averaged 6.5 points per game, a steep decline. This was just the beginning. In January 2005, he went to the Cleveland Clinic, where doctors found that he had ulcerative colitis, which causes inflammation and sores in the large intestine. According to a colorectal surgeon at Stanford, for an athlete, colitis can be devastating, and that's exactly what it was. During the 2004-05 season, he had lost up to 35 pounds, played only 11 games, and averaged 4 points, 0.2 rebounds, and 1.2 assists. He missed the entire 2005-06 season recovering from surgery. Facing few other options, Wagner underwent surgery to remove half his colon on October 25, 2005. 1 year later, he signed a 2-year, $1.6 million contract with the Golden State Warriors. He was set to play in the 06-07 season. However, he played only one single game before the Warriors decided to cut him from the team. That one game ended up being his last in the NBA. After that, he took his skills abroad and signed a 1-year contract with Poland's Procom Trefl Sopot on August 31st, 2007. He ended up averaging 8.3 points, 2.5 rebounds, and 0.8 assists. After that, he stopped playing basketball for good, although he has teased a comeback here and there. These days, Wagner is living the quiet life. He's the partial owner of Adrenaline Sports Performance Center in New Jersey, and his attention is on his son, DJ.